that might hurt. I'm not sure eating healthy, namely eating leafy vegetables, spinach and broccoli and fish, is going to help your PBC. So that's really not the answer you're looking for. I think that ultimately we're going to come up with certain either probiotics, not the ones they sell now, that might actually end up helping a bit, because you may get lots of anti-inflammatory action if we could ever repopulate your gut with the right bacteria. When patients ask me the nutrition question, I always say, you know, just don't even think about your PBC. Just think healthy. And the sort of the Gershwin healthy diet basically is don't eat anything that walks. If it flies, if it swims, that's fine. And eat lots of vegetables. And it's good if the vegetables are microwaved or steamed, because it breaks the cells open and gives you antioxidant potential. The Gershwin diet is more anecdotal than anything else. It's not like the South Beach diet. I haven't written any books on it, but I think it's important to eat health. Did I say that taking acetaminophen can accelerate PBC? What I said was, in our animal models, we think we can induce AMAs in mice who are given metabolites of the acetaminophen. I also said it's really difficult to prove that acetaminophen is actually the cause of PBC. If I were really put to the wall, and I guess I am, and the camera's on me, I'll tell you anecdotally, I do not think a patient with PBC should take any acetaminophen at all. But it's nothing that I can prove. It's just my own sort of gut research reaction. I'd ask your doctors for something else. Certainly acetaminophen is not good for liver anyway. Is there any indication that work on your teeth, any dental work, allergy modifications, and steroids can cause PBC? No, not as far as I know. It is a rather good question, though, because there is now some data in rheumatoid arthritis that suggests if you have a lot of gingivitis, it makes it more likely that you're going to develop rheumatoid arthritis. And in fact, there's some data in rheumatoid arthritis that suggests it might even start off as a disease of the lungs, where, for example, people who smoke, especially men, have a much higher incidence of rheumatoid arthritis. We're only now beginning to understand why. And as odd as it seems, what happens in the lung is quite similar to the data of people who have gingival infections and get a higher incidence of PBC. And they may all come down to bacteria and this concept of microflora. Oh, the Zika virus. There isn't any data on Zika and PBC. There is data on Zika and Guillain-Barré. But as far as Zika and PBC is concerned, there's no data whatsoever. Since antigen is already in the body, is there rationale to eat a diet that is more natural with less chemicals? So, you know, first of all, what's the definition of natural? It turns out the FDA defines natural. Yeah, I would laugh too, actually. You're right. Is that it's anything that has carbon in it, which means your pencil is natural. But I don't see anybody eating pencils. If Socrates were alive and here today, Socrates was forced to commit suicide by drinking hemlock. Hemlock is a drug called vincristine that we actually use to treat cancer. But it's natural. So you've got to be really careful about health food stores, what they sell and what they promote. Not to say there are not things out there that are good, not to say there are not things out there that are not fair according to the label, but for the most part, they're not magical and they're not meant to be pharmaceuticals. Okay? And be careful of any products imported that might contain cadmium and lead, because imports from Asia particularly are not necessarily safe. What's that? What? I'm done. Sorry. So I didn't answer all the questions. I've still got 8 or 9 more, but I'll stand outside, and if anybody's got some questions. I don't know if this is my pen or not. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you again.